The champagne glass shattered against the marble floor the moment Ethan walked through the door. "You weren't invited," Margaret hissed, stepping in front of her daughter Sophie like a shield. Behind her, dozens of guests turned, whispering, as the man in the worn grey jacket stood frozen in the doorway of the engagement party he had funded without anyone knowing. Ethan said nothing. He simply looked at Sophie, the woman he had loved for 3 years, now wrapped in the arm of Damien Cole, a man whose Rolex alone cost more than Ethan's apartment. Sophie wouldn't meet his eyes. "Get him out," her father barked. 2 security guards moved toward him. Ethan didn't resist. He turned and walked out into the rain, his jaw tight, his heart pounding with something that wasn't heartbreak. It was confirmation. If you've ever been underestimated by the people who were supposed to love you, stay till the end, because what Ethan does next will blow your mind. And if you love stories about karma and quiet revenge, hit subscribe right now, because this one delivers. 3 years earlier, Ethan had walked into Sophie's family bakery looking like any other broke graduate. Second-hand shoes, a backpack with a broken zipper, ramen noodles in his pockets more often than cash. He fell for Sophie instantly, not for her family's modest wealth, but for the way she laughed when she burned the croissants. What nobody knew, not Sophie, not her parents, not a single soul outside one locked office in Manhattan, was that Ethan Cole Whitmore was the founder of a tech company worth over $400 million. He had built it from nothing, sold his stake in a previous startup, and reinvented himself under a different name to find someone who would love him without knowing the number behind his name. He wanted to know, would Sophie's family choose him if he had nothing? Or would they only ever see dollar signs? He got his answer faster than he expected. "Sophie, sweetheart, his sweet, but sweet doesn't pay rent," her mother said one evening, swirling wine in her glass. "Look at Damien. Old money. Connections. A future. Mom, I love Ethan. Love doesn't last when the bills pile up, Sophie. Trust me." Ethan, listening from the hallway with a bouquet of grocery store flowers in his hand, said nothing. He simply turned around and left them alone. Are you starting to feel the tension building? Drop a comment below telling me what you would do in Ethan's place, because it's about to get so much worse before it gets better. Damien Cole arrived like a storm dressed in Italian tailoring. He showered Sophie's family with gifts, a new car for her father, designer bags for her mother, a small $5,000 donation to the bakery's renovation. Within 2 months, Ethan was being phased out like a bad habit. "He's just not enough," Sophie's father told her bluntly at dinner. Ethan sitting 2 seats away, invisible to them. "Enough for what?" Ethan finally asked, his voice calm but edged with steel. "For this family," her father said. "We have standards now." Sophie stayed silent. That silence cut deeper than any insult. That night, Ethan sat alone in his modest rented apartment. Modest because he insisted on living simply, even with millions sitting in his accounts, and made a decision. He would not reveal who he was. Not yet. He needed to see exactly how far they would go. He didn't have to wait long. Damien proposed at a 5-star rooftop restaurant 3 weeks later, dropping $50,000 on a ring the size of a small ice cube. Sophie's mother cried tears of joy. Her father shook Damien's hand like he'd won the lottery. Ethan wasn't invited. He found out through a group chat, a single photo, no explanation, just 3 words from Sophie. "I'm sorry, Ethan." Pause for a second, because if this hasn't made your blood boil yet, wait until you see what Ethan discovers about Damien. Smash that like button if you want justice in this story, because trust me, it's coming. But Ethan wasn't done testing them. He showed up to the engagement party anyway. The one where he was humiliated and thrown out in the rain. What nobody knew was that Ethan had already hired a private investigator the moment Damien entered the picture. Old money rarely stays quiet about itself, and Damien Cole's money wasn't old. It wasn't even real. 2 days after the party, the investigator called. "Mr. Whitmore, you need to see this." Damien Cole wasn't a venture capitalist's son. He was a con artist who had spent the last 6 years draining trust funds from wealthy, lonely women across 3 states, using forged documents and a fake family name. His real name was Daniel Cobbs, and he had a warrant out for fraud in 2 states. The five-star lifestyle was financed entirely by his last victim's emptied savings account, a woman now homeless in Ohio. The wedding was in 4 days. Ethan didn't call Sophie. He didn't call her parents. Instead, he did something far more powerful. He let the truth find them on its own time, while quietly making sure it would land at the worst possible moment for Damien. If you're enjoying this story so far, comment Team Ethan below. I want to see how many of you saw this twist coming. The wedding day arrived dressed in white roses and false smiles. Sophie stood at the altar, stunning and hollow-eyed, like a woman walking toward a decision she no longer believed in. Her mother dabbed happy tears. Her father beamed with pride at the son-in-law he thought had saved their family's reputation. Then the doors at the back of the church opened. 2 detectives walked in, followed by a stone-faced Ethan in a simple black suit. "Daniel Cobbs," one detective announced, voice echoing through the silent church, "you're under arrest for wire fraud, identity theft, and grand larceny." Gasps rippled through the crowd like a wave. Sophie's mother dropped her champagne flute. Her father's face went the color of ash. Daniel, tried to bolt, but the detectives caught him before he reached the side exit, his expensive shoes squeaking uselessly against the marble. Sophie stood frozen at the altar, the bouquet trembling in her hands, staring at the man she'd chosen over the one who had truly loved her. "Ethan," she whispered. "How did you know?" "I didn't just know," Ethan said quietly, stepping closer. "I tested all of you. I let you choose money over me, because I needed to see the truth before I gave you my whole life." Her mother gasped. "Tested us? With what money, Ethan? You don't." "I'm worth $412 million, Ethan said simply. "I built Whitmore Tech from a garage 3 years before I met Sophie. I never wanted anyone to love me for that. I wanted someone to love me when I had nothing to offer but myself." Silence swallowed the church. Sophie's father stumbled backward into a pew, his legs giving out beneath him. Her mother covered her mouth, tears streaming, not joy this time, but raw, devastating regret. "You let us believe," Sophie started, voice cracking. "I let you show me who you really were," Ethan said. "And you did. Every single one of you." He turned to leave. Sophie ran after him, grabbing his arm in the church's grand entryway, mascara streaking down her face. "Please, Ethan. I made a mistake. I still love you." Ethan looked at her, really looked, for the last time, and felt something he hadn't expected. Peace. "You loved the idea of being chosen by someone safe," he said gently. "Not me. There's a difference, Sophie. I hope you find out what that difference feels like someday." He walked out of the church into bright, clean sunlight, leaving behind the ruins of a wedding, a fraud in handcuffs, and a family forced to face exactly who they had become. 6 months later, Ethan funded a scholarship for first-generation students under a name no one would recognize, married a woman who had no idea he was wealthy until their 2nd anniversary, and never looked back. Some people search their whole lives for someone who'll choose them when they have nothing. Ethan found that, just not where everyone expected. If this story hit you the way it hit me, smash that like button, drop a comment telling me which moment shocked you the most, and subscribe for more stories like this every single week. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.